Hey guys, so today's 7 on Sunday. So today's theme is going to be a fun one, but it was also kind of hard to figure out because today we're talking about books we didn't discover on Booktube or Bookstagram or just social media in general, just books that you found before social media influenced you to be the reader that you are today. So basically the way I figured this out was to think about the books that I owned when I lived in Newcastle, and that was 7+ years ago. So I was on like Facebook, but that was about it. Like maybe I was on YouTube, maybe I was on Twitter, but I wasn't really doing the whole book thing. I didn't discover it until I came to Gingerbine, and then I discovered that I wanted to do it, and then like here we are now. But basically these are books that I read a long time ago, and literally every single one of them is paranormal YA romances, and this was just who I was back then. And I feel like I'm a more sophisticated reader now. Like I do enjoy that I read contemporaries, I do enjoy reading fantasy, but like everyone went through that paranormal phase, and I still will read paranormal stories, but just not as much. So the first one is City of Bones by Cassandra Clare. So I actually read this one because the movie was coming out and I was very excited, and it was so funny too because I remember back then I used to like wash the dishes and do chores just to earn the money, like the 10 bucks to buy this book. And after school I went down to the Big W before I got on my school bus, and I went and bought the book, and then I read it and it was like, I'm so excited. And like then I kept saving so I could buy the next book, and it was just such a whole thing. Like this is what I used to do. Like I used to just make $2 from washing the dishes and try and save up to buy certain things. And it's just like these are the memories because you saved just so hard, and then you bought the books and then you read them in like a day. Like this was the vibes, and now I can barely read a book in 5 days, which is fine. I have a lot of things in my life now that I have to deal with, but still this is one that I definitely read before Booktube, and I was pleasantly surprised to know so many people read these books and everyone still talks about them now. Like literally all of us have like aged with the Shadowhunters world and series, and because there's just so many books that keep on coming out, like we're all going to be well into our adult years by the time any of this finishes, and it's just so cool that we have that. Next is of course Twilight by Stephanie Meyer. So this is something I again got into because 3 of the movies had already come out by the time that I got into the Twilight series, and my brother bought me the first 2, and then I brought the second 2 for myself because I had some Christmas money, so he bought them for Christmas obviously. And I just remember reading these and being obsessed with them for the next 20 million years of my life. And I read these when I was very young, so this was at least like probably 10 to 12 years ago that I first read these books. And then I remember being so excited to see Breaking Dawn Part 1 at the cinema, and then Breaking Dawn Part 2, when I used to rewatch the first 3 movies all the time. So this is another one where the movies were the reason that I read them. I don't think anyone really discovered Twilight from Booktube as much. Like a lot of us are like Twilight veterans, and we would all be able to put this one on our list. And then because I needed to discover more vampire books, I read Vampire Academy by Rochelle Mead, which is one that I really enjoyed. This was really fun. Obviously though, nothing could compare to Twilight to 12-year-old me, so these books are great. I really do appreciate them, and I actually prefer the Bloodline series more. There's just something about Sydney and Adrian that just gets to me, but I do really love these books. There's 12 of them in total over the 2 series, and I just like the ideas of the vampires. It's all fun. And then like a couple of years later we got that movie that was like kind of really bad, but I also kind of really like it. Like I feel like a lot of the time I really do like book to movie adaptations. Like they always make them so bad, but it's just fun to see the characters come alive and to see some of the scenes that we've like read and like know and love. So I'm kind of at that point with a lot of book to movie adaptations. It's mainly when I read the book right beforehand that I get hella pissed because I ruin it, but I actually really didn't mind it with this one. But this is definitely one that I read before I got to Booktube, and again I was really surprised that everyone talked about it as well. And then going along with the vampire theme, I read Marked by PC Cast and Kristen Cast, and oh my god, I was obsessed with House of Night. And even moving here, I'm pretty sure the last 2 books came out, so I also read them while I've been in Gingerbine. But I remember getting the first 6 for Christmas because my mum bought me 3 of them, and then my auntie bought me the other 3, and I was just reading them like every 3 days, picking up a new one, just sitting on the chair out in the back room all day just reading these books. And I am just obsessed with Stark. Even though these books have not aged well, Stark is still one of my book boyfriends, and I just love him, and I honestly want to reread this series just to like see him again and experience him again because I love him. But I had a real thing with vampires. Case in point, when I became obsessed with Night World by L.J. Smith. So I could say Vampire Diaries from her as well, but like those books really aren't that great. The TV show was a lot better. I even unhauled all of the editions that I had except for the ones that my brother bought me, which I may even get rid of at some point because they were a gift, but I really don't need those books because like Vampire Diaries was just not a great book. They changed everything for the show and it's just not great writing. But the Night World series is really fun. There is 9 books and there is like vampires and witches and werewolves and demons and devils, and each book is about a different character and it all starts to link up as you go along. But what is so annoying is she never published the 10th book. So we were coming to the conclusion, we were coming to the end, like it was all building for something and we're never gonna know what it is, and I'm so mad about it. But I needed more vampires in my life, so this is the one that I picked up and I really appreciated it. And they came in these bind-ups of 3 books too, which made it really easy to read. But I just really liked these books. And another one that was a quiet obsession for me was Fallen by Lauren Kate, because like this isn't vampires, this is angels, but it is still something that I really enjoyed. And like even though this book again probably didn't age that well, I remember being so excited when the 4th one came out. I'm like, I had to get my mom to go buy it for me that day. Like she had to go get it, and I read it so quickly and I was just so pumped about it. And like they're good characters. Like I do love Daniel as a character, he's a pretty good love interest, and Luce was like okay, but there's still so many random things about this series that you're like, what? And I'm pretty sure I went out of my way to read other books about angels, and that's why I really wanted to pick up Hush Hush, and I got the box set of that. I do think these are books that everyone should have read at least once in their lifetime. It's probably preferable when you're younger and you're in that phase, but still a really good series. And just a random one, because I remember just buying this at Kmart one time when my mum said she'd buy me a book because I'd been good that week or something. But I decided to pick up Clairelune by Christine Johnson, and this is about werewolves. So completing the paranormal like circle here with werewolves, and I bought the 2nd book as well. And I think it's funny too because I'm pretty sure the edition that I have for the 2nd book isn't even in the same cover, and back then I didn't know that was a bad thing. But this was fun. I think I even based a story that I wrote off this book as well, because I also wrote a book about a girl who turned 16 and then she became a werewolf. Like I wrote a whole thing. I wrote a 200-page book about werewolves, and it is online. I'm not going to tell you what the site is, but I called it Howling Moon because I thought I was so hip back then. So if you wanted to find my story, it is called Howling Moon. But I remember writing this whole thing, being so obsessed with it, and like bringing in like so many different like things that I thought was so elaborate, and like if I read back it now I'd be like, my god. But this book really did kind of shape my reading a little bit. Like it is fun, like it's just the same general paranormal story you ever have. She obviously becomes a werewolf, shit hits the fan, then she finds a boyfriend, and then everything's okay. But yeah, everything was just paranormal and dark covers because that is what we did at this time. But these books definitely, like I see them on Booktube now, and I've been seeing them for the past 5 years, but this is definitely what shaped me as a reader. Funny making this video how much the nostalgia came back talking about these books. Like my god, this was such a great topic. Thank you for giving me this to talk about how I used to be as a reader. But anyway guys, hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!